Hey y'all, it's Tamisha and welcome back to Did You Say Something? If you didn't know, this podcast actually started because of the Plan a Wedding magazine. We launched the magazine in December 2021 and ran strong through December 2024. It became a space for couples who wanted more than surface level wedding talk. After 3 great years, we paused, not to quit, but to regroup, breathe, and plan for what's next. And now we're coming back with fresh new issues in 2026. The podcast was born from that same energy, real conversations about what happens before the wedding and everything that follows. Because the day is important, but the marriage, the life you build, that's the real work. And if you're planning right now and need support, my team at FMTY Weddings and Corporate Events is here for that too. We plan intimate, purposeful events across Georgia, the Carolinas, and beyond. You can learn more at theplanerwedmagazine.com and fmtyweddings&events.com. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but a contract is not paperwork. A contract is protection. And the reason some weddings go left is because couples sign things like they're ordering a cute outfit online. Hey y'all, and welcome back to Did You Say Something? It's the podcast where we say what everybody's thinking, but people are too polite to say out loud. I'm Tamisha Kenlock Carter. I'm your host. I am a certified wedding and event planner, coordinator. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Plan a Wedding magazine, and I'm the person who will tell you the truth because you spend your money the wrong way. And today, we're talking contracts because contracts will humble you, not because couples are not smart, but because couples are excited and the vendors are experienced. And when you're excited, you skim. When they're experienced, they know exactly what's in the fine print. So on today, I'm walking you through what couples skip, what they misunderstand, and what you need to check for before you sign anything. This episode is brought to you by the Plan a Wedding magazine, a wedding planning and lifestyle magazine for couples who love beautiful details but still want a solid plan. We're relaunching digital issues this year, plus releasing one collector's print edition you'll want to keep. Get inspiration, practical guidance, and planning tools that make decisions easier. Visit theplanerwedmagazine.com and join the relaunch. Let me begin with a quick truth. A vendor's personality is not the product. Their work is the product. And the contract is the rules. So even if they're sweet, even if they're friendly, even if they have the cutest Instagram ever, if it's not in writing, it's not real. And I know I have shared this before, but I feel the need to share it again. Because I need y'all to stop assuming that we talked about it means it's covered. Because I have seen couples get shocked on wedding week over things that were literally written in black and white. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm giving you the contract checklist, the top categories you need to look at every single time. And I want you to listen like you're protecting your peace and your pockets, because you are. First, deposits. Let's clear something up. A deposit is usually non-refundable. That is normal, but here's what couples skip. Is the deposit applied to the total? Is it a retainer to hold the date? What happens if you cancel? What happens if the vendor cancels? When are remaining payments due? Now let me say this clearly, clear my throat so you can hear it. Some vendors require final payments at least 30 days before the wedding. Some require payments in full before they even show up. So if you're thinking, I'll pay the rest after the wedding, you may be dreaming. because I don't know of any vendor that's going to allow that. Also, check this. Are there late fees? Is there a service fee? Is there a processing fee for credit cards? Because couples love a price until the price changes at the checkout. So like you have to pay taxes when you go to Walmart, Kmart, Target, you got to do the same thing for your vendor. And if a vendor gets irritated when you ask contract questions, that's a red flag, because a professional wants you to understand exactly what you are signing. Okay? Next, scope of work. This is the section that tells you what the vendor is actually providing. And it is usually detailed. Okay? And this is where couples get played. Not always intentionally, but because they assume. So check. How many hours are included? What's the start time and the end time? What's included and what's not included? Is setup included? Is breakdown included? Is travel included? Is parking included? Let's use a photography business as an example. If the contract says 8 hours of coverage, that doesn't mean automatically that you're getting ready photos, first look ceremony, cocktail hours, full reception, exit photos. 8 hours is 8 hours. So if your timeline is 10 hours, somebody is either leaving early or you're paying overtime. Same thing for the DJs. Same thing for the coordinators. Same thing for hair and makeup. Check the words, because coverage and service time have limits. Your wedding day is not a vibe in the contract. It's time, task, and terms. And next, we're going to talk about overtime. Since I mentioned it, overtime is one of the biggest surprise costs. Look for these questions. What is the overtime rate per hour? Is overtime billed in 30-minute blocks or full hours? How is overtime approved? Who can approve it on the day? And I need you to be careful here, real careful. Some contracts say if you go over, you automatically agree to overtime. Some say overtime must be approved in writing before the event. So if you're a couple who likes to go with the flow, that is expensive, because time is money in weddings. Now, let's talk about the sections people love to ignore because it feels negative. Cancellation, rescheduling, force majeure. Force majeure. Force majeure is basically unexpected events, weather disasters, illnesses, outbreaks like COVID, venue closures, things outside of anyone's control. Here's what you need to look for. If you cancel, do you lose everything? If you reschedule, can you move your deposit? Is there a rescheduling fee? What happens if the vendor is unavailable on your new date? What happens if your venue changes? And I'm going to say this with love. If you're planning during any season where weather is unpredictable, like hurricane season, you need to know what the contract says about weather. Because some vendors will still require full payment even if you cancel at the last minute. And that's not mean, that's business. So you need to make sure you understand what you're agreeing to. Liability, damages, indemnity. Now, this is the grown-up section. Okay. This is where you find out who's responsible if something breaks, who's responsible if someone gets hurt, who's responsible if the venue has restrictions, who's responsible if you don't have required insurance. Many venues require liability insurance. Some vendors require it too. And couples don't know until it's almost too late. So my advice, check. These are the questions you need to be asking. Does your venue require COI, which is certification of insurance? Is alcohol involved? Are there special permits? Are there safety rules? Because if something goes wrong, the contract will tell you who pays. And trust me, it won't be the vendor. Now, let's talk about the sneakiest part of the contract. Policies. The P word. This section includes things like communications, expectations, turnaround times, what happens if you're late, what happens if you don't provide info on time, what counts as a breach of contract, refunds or lack of them. Here's an example. Some makeup artists require you to confirm the final head count by a certain date. If you don't, they can cancel and keep your retainer. Some florists require final changes by a certain deadline. After that, there are no changes, even if your auntie cancels. So, if you like to be last minute, you're going to pay last minute prices. And I would hate for you to do that. So please make sure you read. Let me give you a script, because y'all know I love to give you scripts, because sometimes you don't know what to say. So I'm going to help you out. Before you sign, send an email that says simply, "Hi, we're excited to move forward. Before we sign, can you confirm these details in writing? Total cost with all the fees, service start and end time, overtime rate and how it's approved, cancellations, reschedule policy, what's included and excluded in the package." Thank you. That email is your protection, because if they confirm it's not reflected in the contract, you pause. All right? Here's your contract challenge. Before you sign anything this week, next month, or even next year, read the contract and highlight payment schedules, scope of work, overtime, cancellations, reschedule, liability, deadlines for changes. And if you don't understand something, ask, because the contract is not formalities. It's the playbook. But that's where a professional planner comes into play. If this episode helped you, send it to the engaged couple who keeps saying, "It'll be fine." And if you want more honest wedding advice with a lifestyle twist, subscribe, leave a review, and come back. I'm Tamisha Kinlaw Carter, and this is Did You Say Something? And remember, if it's not in writing, it's not real. See you next time.